Hey, hello, and welcome to the Conscious Innovation Podcast. I'm really looking forward to our talk today. Um, Saskia, we've met, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and we are both a member of a network called Future Women X. And we also fairly recently discovered we kind of are neighbors. So,
Yeah.
what better guest to have on the show than you? Um, Today's podcast is going to be about the future of work.
Yeah.
And but before we dive into the obvious questions and maybe the hopefully not so obvious questions, maybe good to learn a little bit more about yourself, because I understand you have a company called Humane Power.
Yeah.
So what do you do? How, for those who don't know you yet?
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. I have a background in technology, mainly technology-driven companies. Not so much that I'm also deep diving into IT, but have been in companies when the internet started at Microsoft, when the cloud was there, and currently, of course, with AI. But the main topic of all my work was about how do we make sure that technology can assist us in being more human. So I connect HR and IT departments mainly, and together with companies, we look into how they want to position themselves, how they see their future, and how they use the added value of their people, the employees, and how IT and which innovation in IT can support them in doing that. And besides that, I give a lot of lectures and
Yeah.
write a lot and do some board member
Yes, I'm
work.
really happy that you were able to have some time available to talk to me today. I guess I'm going to ask that obvious question: is AI going to replace our job? And I'm sure you're going to say no, or hopefully you're going to say no. But I'm kind of curious to how you see the future of work. Really, of course. I mean, that's the question behind the question. Where are we
Um,
going?
I think it will affect everyone's job. So, and I think there will be some jobs that are being lost or not
Hmm.
that much used anymore. But I think we will also gain a lot of new work.
Yeah.
Um, On the other hand, what I do hope is that it will give us some freedom, because I think, especially during or after the 80s when internet came up, we all work harder and more and
Yeah.
need to because of the benefits. And looking at the trend that we have actually worldwide, needing to have people who have time to take care of their loved ones or work in education or in healthcare is much needed. So um, I think it will give a shift to everyone, even if you are a craftsman and you work with hands, then you have more and more automation in the tools that you use.
Mm. Was this also like the number one question you get when you talk to companies, or are you getting different questions?
Well, the urgency, well, we read a lot about it. Huh?
Hmm.
Like every day you get articles like it's going to replace us. And I think it's very personal. So you have the believers and the non-believers. So you have people who say, well, AI can do anything and it's everywhere. And you have people who say, well, the human will also always be in the loop. And I think that's also what you see in all the,
Yeah.
everything that you read or that's being discussed. It's a lot about how people think about it.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that people are most of the times not afraid of their own jobs, but for other people's jobs.
Oh, that's
So,
interesting.
I mean, if you CEO say, well, a lot of people will lose their jobs, and if I ask them, like, okay, but what about your own job? No, that's not that. So that's so much needed. So we value our own job and also our own contribution a lot more than we do for others.
Is that the same also for the layers underneath the CEO, like the middle management?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I
And
think we
what is
all
your view
always
on that?
create,
Yeah.
yeah. We always know how it will be for others, but find it difficult to connect that to our own situation.
Yeah. I can imagine that. So specifically from an HR point of view, I work a lot with IT people, and of course they're all on ChatGPT and also
Yeah,
luckily on the more classical AIs, because I think personally there's more relevance there than having your
yeah,
emails written by a computer. Then I'm thinking, why are you sending a message in the first place if it's being sent by a
yeah.
robot and then received by another robot? Like, what exactly are we trying to do here? You could probably automate that better, but and I lost my train of thought here now. So yeah, okay. The HR side of people, I've noticed a few times that when I speak to HR folks, they're not necessarily fully on board on AI and the impact on the organization. But then again, that was a couple of months ago. So I was kind of curious, what do you see there?
I think everyone is on board with ChatGPT. I
Yeah,
think
not,
about
not
95%.
yeah.
But indeed, on other levels,
Mm-hmm.
well, there is not so much to be really, but like there's a lot on building content, so pictures, presentations,
Yeah,
videos, text. So there it's being used.
yeah,
You see, of course, in the HR field that a lot of them find it more, yeah, more scary, but that has always been the department that is not too AI or technical savvy.
mm,
But I think everyone is using it now.
yeah.
Uh,
So, and from an HR point of view, do you see the conversations is mostly about how HR people use technology for their HR work and how they can remove repetitive work there? Or is the conversation more about which skills are needed for the future for the organization?
Both, I
Mm,
think both. And I think from the organization, there's a lot of push on HR, especially also because they think a lot of HR people can be, yeah, let go, let's say. So they
mm,
feel a lot of pressure and they find it still hard to be in the discussion like what is our future workforce look like.
yeah,
They feel that they need to take ownership there,
right.
but they don't get yet the seat at the table, and they don't always have enough knowledge and empowerment to fuel that discussion.
Okay. And are a lot of HR departments or heads of HR making sort of new personnel plannings because of AR, like the
No,
strategic
not
personnel
yet.
plan?
Not
Okay.
yet. No, you see a lot of news messages that, especially in the US, that there are companies who say, okay, if you cannot prove that AI cannot do it, or hey, you cannot hire anyone. But
Mm,
I feel, nou ja, in the rest of the world that's not really taking place yet.
okay.
But there's also not much. I mean, if we say that the skills of the future are more like creativity, being analytical, critical, etc.,
Yeah.
I don't see that changing yet in how people are being hired or being educated within the company.
Yeah. And you think should they, or is it more like big blah blah in the media, but in real life it's not necessary? I'm just kind of curious on your
I
view
think
on
there's
this.
not so much. I mean, I'm quite. I've worked a lot in IT.
Mm-hmm.
The adoption of technology within companies is taking 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So yes, people are using ChatGPT just to do their work, but a
Uh-huh.
structural approach on how it will look like or what we do to change. Uh, there's not so much. There's a lot in the call center area,
Right.
etc. But
Yeah.
that, yeah, is that specifically AI or is that a digital transformation?
Yeah.
But of course, then you talk to someone who doesn't exist. But in the rest of all the companies I talk to, they're experimenting here and there some
Yeah.
stuff, but there's still a lot of dialogue. What should we do? And in the
Yeah.
meantime, the people are using it on a daily basis,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not structural.
I find it quite refreshing because a lot of the stuff I read on LinkedIn, and that of course is my bubble. People are really talking about, oh, it's going to change the entire world, and you can now start a company on your own, and instead and get rid of all your staff, or it's going to really take away all the jobs, especially agentic AI. but I find it quite refreshing, and probably it's like a sober Dutch sort of mentality that we both have,
Maybe.
in saying, well, it's going to take a few more years. Now, some people might then say, well, yeah, that might have been in the past 5 to 10 years or 3 to 5 years, but this is AI. It'll be all much faster. What would you say to that?
Maybe it is. Maybe it will get faster because the technology is faster, but it's also
Hmm.
changing faster. So if you would implement something, then the next day it's something different. So
Also
how do
true.
you really implement the adoption rate being so agile or adaptive that you can do that? Um, but and I understand, and especially the IT companies want us to believe that it's quick and you need to act fast. Um, but if you really deep dive in what people are doing, then I don't see it happening too much, except for
Mm,
some experimental things.
yeah.
And companies like IBM, who fired a lot of their people because they said due to AI they are rehiring and even double
Oh.
because the agents needs to be managed, steered, controlled, etc. So, and even Duolingo, etc. Those companies were like the first who said, "Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna fire people who say we can now work 4 days instead of five." We always knew that people are more productive in 4 days than in five, so it's not related to AI immediately.
Okay. Yeah.
So the fundamental change will gradually take place, I think, and in some areas, I think in healthcare there's a lot needed, so
Uh-huh.
therefore there's much more urgency, and in other areas there's less urgency, so you see some things
Yeah.
happening, but not too fast.
Just want to piggyback a bit more on the 4 day work week. Now, we are from the Netherlands, so for us, a 4 day work week isn't really that strange.
But
It's kind of
it
like
is
everybody's off on Friday somehow or on Wednesday. But can you tell me a bit more about we are being more productive in 4 days than in five, and how do you then manage that? From all of these questions come up also, like, are you getting the same pay for it then, or well, walk me through
yeah,
that one.
companies who do that, they because the output is the same.
Right.
So the earnings are the same. So they say, okay, we give it to the people, or you can give it to your shareholders. That's a choice, of course.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But I think you should give it to your people.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's actually all studies show that you can be only 6 hours per day really productive,
Right. Yeah.
and yeah, so if you put that in 4 days, I think you are more clever in how you do your work.
Yeah.
So all studies show that you are more productive. Maybe it's less, you have less time for chit-chatting or
Right.
reading the newspapers at the office, etc. So you do your work in those hours.
Yeah.
But the output is the same. So you won't earn less or need to hire more people.
Yeah.
Um, there are, of course, you have the book of the 4-hour work week.
Oh
Even
yeah, Tim
well, that's
Harris's
even
book.
more,
Yes,
but
I've read that
that's
like
that's
10
a
years
stretch.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a real stretch, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think we are, yeah, a lot of the things that we have said already before now due to AI gets more attention. So I
Yeah.
think it the dialogue is on how do we work and what is effective is of course taking
Yeah.
place.
And is a C-suite easy to convince that you can let all your staff work 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week for the same pay?
No, no, because they didn't do it either. So why should should their staff do it?
Yeah.
No, no, and I don't know if I don't know if it's valuable for every company. So I think you
Right.
should look into that.
Yeah.
But first, think about what would work for us. But I do think what I wanted to say is much more like um, we that for years there was already a debate, and also if you look at the Scandinavian countries where they work like from 9 to 4 every day. So you see
Hmm.
a lot more healthier people,
Yeah.
time to help kids with school, and it has so there's a
Yeah.
lot more value in that. Less burnouts. That also saves a lot of money. On the other
Yeah.
hand,
Yeah.
but that discussion was there without AI, and now
Yeah.
people start the discussion said due to AI, where if you really we have not been able to measure that over
Yeah. It's
time.
a bit too soon, still,
Yeah.
yeah. Ah,
And
that's
actually, what
interesting.
I found interesting again, there was this study 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago from MIT
Hmm.
on our cognitive, brain using AI, and it's shocking how how less creative, less analytical, less critical we are by
Yeah,
using ChatGPT. Not even when we're using it, but also if we're used to using it, we're not able anymore to write good text, etc. And so they really showed it in your brains,
yeah,
and I think that's quite alarming. And in the
yeah,
70s, the computer scientists already said, like, it's the fear is not so much that computers will think as human beings, but that human beings will think as computers. And I
yeah,
think that's happening right now.
yeah. Yeah, that is concerning because you also mentioned like for if you start working like 6 hour work days, so you can do less and doing like not basically cutting out the air in between the
Yeah,
hours.
yeah,
Um, that is for me also concerning when I look at AI and what people are saying from the
yeah,
operational excellence point of view. It's like, oh, we're going to just sort of automate all the mundane tasks, which
yeah,
means you only have time. Will be only focusing on very complex stuff,
yeah,
and there is no space anymore just to free your brain up a bit,
yeah,
just to sort of look out of the window or do like mundane tasks.
yeah.
I always had this conversation. I like to work from home, um, and I like the fact that I have to clean out the dishwasher or just put some laundry in. Um, Not because I like to do housework, but it just makes me walk away from my computer for a few minutes, do something else, and it's almost like standing under the shower, and that's where all the bright ideas come.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
whole point of um, not being completely focused and on all the
great.
time, but just allowing yourself to be switched off. I'm seeing you nodding. So what's your take on that?
Yeah. Nou ja, and I think I heard from Janine Vos from Rabobank.
Mm-hmm.
So they use AI in the call center, so the customer support,
Uh
etc.
huh.
And what you see is that people are now only doing the difficult cases,
Yeah.
difficult stuff, difficult cases. Their burnout ratio, it went through the roof.
Yeah.
Because people are only doing the difficult stuff, and usually you have some difficult cases, but you also have some easy cases, and then
Exactly.
you get,
Yeah.
oh, I do some easy cases.
Yeah.
And so that's a danger that, yeah,
Yeah.
that and indeed I think you need that time. On the other hand, looking at the 6 hour workday or 4 hour 4 days a week work week. Um, to be really honest, I can understand at home that you do some stuff, but yeah, you get more ideas if you walk through the woods than if you just walk to the country. But I think
Yeah.
we're also at the company at an office to meet people or to have coffees, which
Exactly.
is part
Yeah.
of the job. So it's a
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
So there's always a side effect. So the positive effect is that people have 3 days, including the weekend, to do more things for themselves. And what you
Uh
see is
huh.
a lot of people are starting courses, doing learnings, help their parents, whatever. So
Yeah.
they're very productive for themselves or for society. But I can understand that maybe the connection with colleagues is getting lower.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I don't think we can have it all, and
Yeah.
that's a choice that I think that's why I say I don't think if you're maybe an agency, you still work with people,
Hmm.
uh, and you need that creativity and yeah, a connection. Then you should also not have people work from home. I think just be in the office. That's the
Yeah.
value of your company and the value
Yeah.
that you have with the people that work for you. So there's no one size fits all, I think.
No, that's true. So, um, you're fully focused on the future of work. So, like, what's like the biggest misconception that's out there that you always have to sort of correct?
Good question. Well, I think we underestimate ourselves in the influence that we have on how we want it to be.
Ah,
So most people think like, well, we'll see what happens, or we'll see what AI will bring us, or we'll see,
yeah,
and then I always have to turn it around and say, okay, but what do you think, or where you can make an impact, or where you can make a change?
yeah,
And that's why I also argue quite a lot against all those people who say it's going fast and you need to do it now, blah blah blah, because then people get like even paralyzed and think like,
yeah,
I don't know anymore what to do. But it's in our control, it's in our hands. We can think about it. We can think about how, if I think about it, uh, I hope that my daughters or their children will have a different way of living their lives
hmm,
than that I have. And I love my life. There's nothing against it, but I think work is dominating too much of our time, effort, value,
yeah,
etc. And the work is so connected to earning money, or being able to survive,
yeah,
that you might want to disconnect. Philosophers in the 17th century already said, as a human being, you should not work more than 4 hours a day,
right,
because
yeah,
we're also built to be together, to read art,
yeah,
uh, do those kind of things. So if I dream about it, I think
yeah.
that's something, but we need to take that into our own hands
So
and not
that's
think
more
like,
like the
oh,
humane part of your company
yeah,
name, right?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I really like that. It really resonates. I also, my slogan on my website, and as a futurist, is also the future's here what you want it to be.
yeah,
And I really like giving people perspectives and not focus on what you don't want, but really just focus on what you do
yeah,
want. And like the abundance thinking, but just taking it into a very practical sense of things. So if you keep focusing on things you don't want, that's what you get.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
telling people, don't think of a red car. And what's in your mind now? You are seeing a red car. So
yeah,
it's better than say, well, start thinking red cars, and oh,
yeah,
cool, I'm seeing red cars
yeah,
everywhere. So yeah, that's kind of how I like to navigate the world
yeah,
as well. So I'm happy to hear that as well. Um, so for me, conscious innovation kind of means that if you start doing innovation, let's do do it consciously. So have those questions like, just because you can, should we? And what is our purpose, and how is this contributing? And are we actually solving real world problems? That's kind of, and then ethics comes in, and a
yeah.
bunch of things come in. I was kind of curious, since this podcast is conscious innovation, from your line of work, where do you see conscious innovation in your work, or what do you like it to be?
Well, yeah, so for me, the consciousness indeed is, I think there we connect, is that you have to think about it.
Yeah.
And my area is the future of work. So it's conscious about how how you or we or the society should work in the future.
Hmm.
And then my own value and purpose there is that I think I love to think about, and there are some groups where I'm part of, like, okay, can we, with all the wealth that we get also from the technology that we have, can we give that back indeed to the people, that at least we can work from abundance instead of being afraid that your job is being lost.
Yeah.
And so that's for me consciousness. But if I ask people like how you want it to be, I love to see that people think like, okay, but this is why I love my work, or why I'm on earth to, or
Yeah.
this is a full talent that I have.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't have too much time for it because I need to do some repetitive tasks, etc.
Uh-huh.
And thinking about that, and usually when I give workshops as well, people in the beginning were like, "Oh, but do I have any influence?" And they go away with a smile,
Oh, that's good.
and at least think about, if yeah, have feel more in control. I think
Yeah.
that's what people can take control of, and technology, and especially AI, is so complicated
Hmm.
that most people, sorry, think like, I don't understand it, so it will do what it does, but I
Yeah.
don't. influence it, and that's not true.
Yeah.
We can all influence it.
Yeah. Um, I like there's a lot of things that I like what you're saying, but I want to get back to the giving back to the people. Do you have like a vision of what that looks like?
Yeah,
So,
so the discussion is about base income. I
mm,
think if we all have AI agents, so have you seen now a lot of call centers say, okay, I can fire 30 people and I have 100 AI agents who work 24/7,
yeah,
never have to go to the bathroom,
yeah,
never ask for a raise, never ask, etc. It's a very, yeah, for economically, of course, very easy to make a decision there because you don't have to pay taxes, etc.
right,
Um, well, maybe we can look into how we can change it and how the wealth of putting that technology in companies, even if you make it a VAT kind of, then we already have quite a lot, but then we have enough money to give every citizen like 1,200, 1,400 euros a month
right, yeah,
from being birthed to your dad till you're dying,
uh-huh,
which, and that's always the question I get. Everyone will still work and
yeah,
contribute, and also there will be people who still want a Ferrari, so make sure they work hard, but that's then a choice.
yeah,
You make a choice from abundance, and I think too many people had 60% of the people at the workplace uh, feel disengaged, but
wow,
they cannot do anything else because they have to pay their rent,
yeah, yeah,
mortgage, food, insurance, whatever.
yeah,
So if all that potential is being put from abundance in the right way, that people want it or the society needs it, I think we can solve quite some problems.
yeah. I'm really interested in the whole debate on tax because I'm with you on the if we should start taxing technology, especially if it starts to replace people because then we our entire system is based on the fact that people will pay taxes and therefore
Yeah,
uh, common stuff is organized, like even like having roads and
yeah,
railways
yeah,
and trains going, and just so it kind of comes to a standstill if that's just being hollowed out and people have no income. So I can definitely see that. I am curious how easy that's going to be to have that debate on taxing. Do you know if that's something that's behind the scenes, or maybe not even behind the scenes, but in full light being discussed at like governmental levels in
yeah.
Europe
It
or
is. It is. I think in the Dutch elections, it will take place right now.
really?
It will be one topic for some parties. But what you see, there's a big discussion on basic income, which is a lot about avoiding poverty.
Yeah,
The technical discussion is not connected to that.
right.
So that's what I'm trying. Like,
Yeah,
okay, if you because we can already afford it if we just rearrange the structure of how our yeah, how we pay money or how we get money as
right.
a
Yeah,
government. Uh, but for me that's not going far enough. So you can look into the technology part, and I think also in the European Union
oh,
discussions
yeah,
are. But of course, that will take, if that's for me the far future of work.
uh-huh,
But the discussion should be there now because
yeah,
we now it's evolving so fast that we should at least get some thinking around it
yeah.
and some
Well, it
economic.
does make sense, and it's from an abundance point of view. I agree with you. We shouldn't frame basic, what's it called, basic income or
Yeah,
basic
UBI,
UBI.
universal basic income. Yeah,
Yeah, the universal basic income. That's what I was looking
yeah,
for. So I'm with you that we shouldn't frame UBI as a poverty problem because then it's we're talking abundance, then it's thinking again like don't think red
yeah,
cars,
yeah,
right? And your entire focus is on poverty, and you get
yeah,
more of it rather than saying, well, this is for everyone, and it is making our processes much easier. So it's reducing the administration
yeah,
load.
yeah.
So some of those processes in the government don't have to be automated anymore
Agree.
because we've just sort of got rid of it. So it is a really a nice rethink of it. And I
Yeah,
guess going back to things like agentic AI or AI, what I really like about it is not so much the technology side of it, but the fact that we are starting to think of how is our process running right now, and
Yeah.
how can which tasks are these things, and
Yeah.
can we just make that simpler,
Yeah.
either by humans or by adding
Mhm. Yeah.
technology. Um, and some of the systems and some of the ways, it's so spaghetti that it is really wise to think transformation rather than just optimization, and I really think, okay, let's redraw this from scratch. Um, so are
But
there
I
like
think that's
yeah,
indeed. I'm currently writing on an article on that. Like, um, a lot of discussions are like, oh, this has changed because AI is giving us more time or whatever.
uh-huh,
And I don't think that's yet true.
yeah,
It's in some areas it is, but not a lot. But what it does, and that's what I like, is it strengthens and also speeds up the discussion that we have. Like, do we do our work efficiently, and
yeah,
where is the human touch needed, and where is technology being able?
yeah,
So a lot of the debates that we have already for quite some time, like steering on output or being agile, or
yeah,
that's now coming in some kind of pressure cooker through
uh-huh,
AI, where AI is not maybe always solving the problem, but at least it starts the debate on the problem.
yeah,
It's like, okay, can AI do something there, or we need to speed up because otherwise our competitors are, yeah, ahead of us.
yeah,
Uh, but I like the dialogue that is taking place
yeah.
in most companies, uh, and it's the essence of the work that we do.
Yeah. No, I recognize it a lot. I think probably we've done the same kind of waves of seeing like the beginning of the internet,
Yeah,
and then I saw my portals or customer service portals, and then I saw the apps, and then about 8 years ago the chatbots, which is like the early AI. Um, and every time I'm seeing a lot of analogies happening now, and it's
yeah,
whenever gets me excited is really, let's redraw and let's redesign better from scratch,
yeah,
from purpose, um, and by the way, also taking the environment into account. So because we haven't even discussed that whole point yet, of course, about the sustainability side of this.
yeah.
When you talk about the future of work, does sustainability play a role in the conversation at all?
Not a lot.
No,
Not
okay.
a lot.
Yeah.
No.
That's for a different
I think,
department. Yeah.
and there, of course, we had the difficulty with the whole ESG part.
Mm.
I think it's not so much top of mind anymore.
Oh, okay.
And uh, yeah, that's a shame. And of course, there are companies, or at least quite some startups, who use AI to make sure they solve some problem, or they address some of the problems that we have to deal with the climate.
Hmm.
But it's I don't find it a huge discussion, especially not related to the future of work
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
AI at the workplace, because I'm always much
Yeah.
more in the workplace.
Yeah. Good point.
Um, one, yeah, no, so no, from a climate, it's not. Even if I talk to people and I'm like, okay, if you use ChatGPT versus Google search, there's a big difference in the energy
Yeah.
being used. Or what if we all use this data? What's happening with all the data centers and the water that we need for that?
Yeah.
And people don't know. They
Yeah.
really don't know.
Well, it is a topic I do discuss, but not so much from a future of work point of view.
No,
So it's but
no.
I was kind of
But
curious if that kind of came up in your work. Yeah.
yeah, no, not at all. One other topic that I think is what I find really interesting is our personal leadership in working closely with technology.
Ah.
And I'm thinking about how we could research that. But if you work with colleagues, then you have a certain mindset that you want to maybe understand more what the
Mhm.
other or you disagree, or you have usually quite some more emotions going on
Yeah.
between at the workplace as well with your colleagues. That's why we do all these team sessions,
Oh
or
yeah. Yeah.
DISC and MBTI, etc. to
Yeah.
understand. So
Yeah.
maybe I should get an MBTI version with your uh, AI agent. But it's more like, at this point, I think we're too much. Um, if I talk to people and they say, yeah, but the technology is saying this, this, and this, and then we take it for granted almost.
Yeah.
And if you really see the output of AI and the quality, it's not always that good.
Yeah.
So there's one thing: are you able to see that it's not good? That's your
Yeah.
craftsmanship. So you always need to keep that in mind. On the other hand, it's also how you deal with it. Do you feel it's okay or not? The
Yeah.
discussion I had on MIT, that everything is getting more and more mediocre, let's say,
Yeah.
in output. Is that something you want or accept? I mean, I used to work a lot with ChatGPT, but I stopped doing that, to be honest, for
Oh,
a big part because I felt that I became lazy in self-starting my ideas and
interesting.
my brain waves or my aha
Uh-huh.
moments.
Yeah.
Because, oh, I'll just ask, oh, yeah, seems fair. It's
Yeah.
okay. So I noticed with myself that I was losing some of the power that I use in how I like to do my work,
Yeah.
which I think is scary.
Oh,
And
that's so interesting. Yeah. I
yeah,
must say I've been in tech for like, I don't know, 30 years or something. And I am also really interested in AI, but I actually don't use it as much either. It's just I toy with it and I can see certain things where it makes real sense. Um, but I guess it's partially also because I'm more on futurism and
yeah,
where basically all AI is prediction, and that's basically taking the past and taking it
yeah,
forward.
yeah,
Whereas in, I think the future needs something different. It
yeah,
doesn't need the repetition of the
no,
past. We need new patterns.
yeah,
Um, so it's makes for what I do, it's helpful sometimes to look at the past, but most of the time it's like, yeah, but we need to do something different. So
yes,
I do use it a little bit, but mostly if I'm in a field where I really don't know where to start, just to sort of ask a few questions and then I'll put it aside again because I like to make my own presentations.
yeah,
For me, making a PowerPoint isn't about producing a PowerPoint slide. It's
no,
about the thinking process that goes
yeah,
behind it. So the
yeah,
result, I could have made it by I must say I've had ChatGPT produce a couple of slides for me, and it was very underwhelming.
yeah,
And the same goes for using Copilot. If you have stuff produced by Copilot, it's very. I can start to see now. This is a
yeah,
Copilot
yeah,
presentation,
yeah, yeah.
and I like to have my own authenticity in
Yeah.
there. And
And it
yeah, it
might
is.
get better. I don't know. It might
Yeah,
be better that we don't know anymore. But I mean, I use a lot of photographs, so I love to just pay for it because
yeah,
people had an eye and a camera and they thought, okay, this is a nice photograph.
yeah, yeah.
And in with a company that I'm in the board of a company set up,
Hmm.
which is trying through art to make us as citizen more critical on
Yeah,
technology. Um, and they did a study on the visuals about AI, and a lot of it is blue and it's
yeah.
like godish. So they researched that by seeing their pictures, we put AI above ourselves just
Oh,
by me seeing the pictures.
yeah.
It's like, okay, AI is something, wow, we
It's
have to
divine.
fire
Yes.
divine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they created different kind of pictures and then tested that, and then people have a complete different sense of
Yeah.
what AI is, which I think so. And that part of how we as human beings interact with the technology and what the effect is,
Yeah.
and being critical with that is yeah, I find it very interesting, but I don't see that yet a lot.
No, but
But
I think it's too early days, and it needs
yeah,
people. It needs organizations like Setup and the WAG Institute is
yeah,
similar.
that's
Is
the same. Yeah,
coming up with. Um, well, my favorite slogan is "Just because we can, should we?" And that is exactly what
yeah,
they're doing. Is really being critical about that. It's like, is this really the way forward? Just because we can do it, is this
yeah.
really what we need to do? So yeah. Um, I was wondering also, is there like anything that inspires you at the moment? It's like a book or some YouTube video or another podcast or a specific person that you follow and why?
Well, of course, Ethan Mollick. I think if you're in AI, I think he is.
Okay.
he's a researcher, and I think he looks into all the different parts. I like the studies that are being done by MIT and
Uh-huh.
Stanford and Harvard. I look a lot at the Harvard business reviews because I think they study the appropriate, well, Harvard Business Schools, of course, a
Hmm.
lot into the future of work area or the work
Yeah.
area as such. So I like to read that. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
good.
to be, yeah, that's also my. I think sometimes my scientific background that I like that it's being researched.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I love, on the opposite, all the discussions that people have together on how they like it or not, being
Uh-huh.
at the dinner table with my friends and listening to all the different views. Because,
Yeah.
as I said before, I think it's also a bit of a how people rate it is about, are they scared or do they see it as an opportunity? Are you
Yeah.
someone who always sees opportunities or do you see risks? That's how we are wired, and
Yeah.
that's also how we look into this
Yeah. Good point.
era with AI. Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting to a close, so I'm kind of curious. What's lurking at the horizon for your work or for you personally? So what's lurking on the horizon? We talked about the current situation that
Yeah.
you're working on, but I'm sure there's something that is enticing your interest somewhere.
Yeah, so well, I keep on doing lectures.
Uh
I'm
huh.
busy with a book.
Oh.
Uh, I'm also going to do podcasts for Audio House.
Oh, nice.
Um, and for me, the topic that, and I'm not really sure yet how that will, yeah, how that will evolve.
Uh huh.
Sorry, it's about if we have on two levels, if we have AI agents at the workforce. So
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the hierarchical structure of a company, you have people, you have co-intelligence, so assistants, and you have agents. How will our organizational design look like?
Ah, right.
That's what I think is like. Can we look into how we have done that in the past and what can be would be needed in the future? I think Microsoft calls it also agent boss. Like everyone is an agent boss, and
Right.
how does that look like? Plus, what I just said about and how like personality tests between AI and human beings. But that's
Oh, that is really interesting. Yeah. And the book you're writing, can you say something about, is that about that topic or is it something else?
no, yeah, it's about, well, also about this. So it's the future of work
Mm-hmm.
with AI currently for knowledge workers.
Yeah.
And I deep dive into certain topics because I think from a scientific background, we look at into meaningful work.
Mm-hmm.
So the relation between how can AI still give us meaningful work, and meaningful work is about skills and it's about tasks and also about autonomy, but how do skills and tasks evolve? So it's about
Yeah.
the skills that we need, tasks that are being automated, work that's being changed, trying to give some future perspective just to make people think like, oh, this is also possible, instead of knowing, because I also don't know what the truth will be in the future. But
Yeah.
the other two topics on work and organization plus yeah, personality and collaboration is well, that has my interest, but I have no idea how that will come together, but that's why I go on holiday in the summer.
Okay. I mean, well,
To
that's
think about that.
perfect. And that's what I've got the same thing with a couple of topics where I'm like, I know my future is something around augmented consciousness. I have no
Yeah,
idea what that looks like. And it's
yeah,
definitely that in terms of how is this going to be monetized. I have no idea. And that's what I like. That's why I call it lurking on the horizon.
yeah,
It's not here yet. You feel something's coming, bubbling up and it
yeah,
has your interest. So,
yeah.
that's amazing. So, thank you very much for being a guest on
Nice
my
talking to
podcast,
you.
and looking forward to well, in one point reading your book and
Yeah, yeah.
listening to your podcast series as well.
Thank
So,
you.
all right.
Thank you.